Hey, what's up for anybody who's watching? Hopefully this is coming through all right. Welcome in, Cheeky. I'm just getting some stuff set up now. So yeah, I mentioned yesterday on Franchise Time Machines stream yesterday that I would be starting a some new content with with OTP, and that's gonna be just a Arizona Diamondbacks franchise mode, which I'm calling Desert Heat. So we got the file started. A couple things that I've changed in the file. I'm not doing scouting or coaching just because I'm not. I do like them, but just kind of want to get a good lay of the land in the league, and sometimes the scouting and stuff it just takes a little extra. Um, I like it, but I didn't feel like I needed it here. Um, Pretty much everything else I think is out of the box. I just kind of have personality ratings on. Um, we're not doing the delayed injuries. Those are just some personal preferences. But other than that, I think we're pretty much set up to do what we need to do. Um, it looks like everything's showing up here. Hopefully the mic's working. If anyone is in here and can confirm. Um, we're going to get started with this and just going to have some fun with it. We're probably going to do like a month at a time. We might look for trades and stuff from time to time, but a lot of it's just going to be out of the box sort of stuff. So we have the Diamondbacks roster here, and kind of wanted to just do a run through with them and try and get them back to 2001 Diamondbacks where they won a World Series and everything like that. Obviously, they're still, you know, they're a pretty good team now, but are they there? Obviously, they have the Dodgers in their division, who are uh, winning championships and signing every single player out of the book. You have Otani, and I always think it's interesting on Otani because he's got the injury and he's got the recovery time. But what does it really do? I mean, if he plays DH, it's not gonna. I mean, it only influences throwing, so he should be fine. But does that make more setbacks happen? I don't know. But I assume they won't have him pitching, which they don't now. But obviously, you have the Dodgers in the division, who are the big dogs, and the Diamondbacks and sort of Padres and Giants are just kind of those 2 through 4 really good teams, and then you have the Rockies, who you just kind of at the moment beat up upon. Sort of Padres and Giants. So I wanted to start this off. We'll look at the injured list to start the season. The big one of note is Eduardo Rodriguez, lefty starter here, who starts the season on the DL, and Paul Sewell, who 6 to 7 week injury, who's one of the main bullpen pieces for the team. Those are really the big names here. You have one of your best prospects here, Jordan Lawler. For anyone who plays Perfect Team, he's got a pretty good future legend card. He's one of the better prospects here. He's in AAA, but he's injured for 2 months with a ruptured UCL. But obviously, I mean, he's probably not there yet, but he's almost major league ready. I don't know if I'll keep him at shortstop. He kind of seems more like a second baseman, but we'll see on that going forward. So that's what we're doing. We're starting the Diamondbacks, sort of, like I said, calling it Desert Heat. I don't know if it shows it anywhere, but that's what we're going to be doing. And we'll probably play a game out, sort of maybe in a quick fashion. Um, at least like the first game of each month, we'll kind of play those games out, just kind of see what's going on, how the team has been changing. You know, there'll be injuries, probably some trades, potentially that shake up either the minor league system or the um, major league roster. So financially wise, we got a pretty good sized budget, middle tier, which I kind of like to do. And OOTP is kind of take a mid tier team. I don't like to go like top of the line budget, but also sometimes it's really hard to do a cash strap team. So if you find a sort of a middle tier team like the Diamondbacks, I think it's a pretty fun experience. A lot of people like to do the rebuild teams, the Marlins, A's, White Sox, and build them up to glory. But I think it's fun to do middle tier teams from time to time and just sort of try and take that next step. Obviously, like as mentioned, you have the Dodgers in the division. You have a bunch of other teams that are good in the division, so you're kind of just trying to be that next team up, and um, that's what we're hoping to do here. So my main focus is going to try and be to turn Arizona into a huge pitching team. Um, we have currently our max or close to max development budget. We'll probably leave it there for now. We're kind of in a like the team focuses on neutral mode. We're kind of in a this is probably a fringe playoff team at the moment. Finances look pretty good in terms of salaries. We're in a really good spot. Corbin Carroll signed for a long time, our best player, and he's pretty cheap. I mean, he gets the 28 million over these years, but until that, he's he's a really good player on a really good contract, and still got a lot of room to develop. Good speed, stealing ability. Obviously, in 2023, he had 54 and 5. I do have their stats up for 2024. Steals wise, he had 35, caught 8 times, but he also he kind of had a down season in 2024. So we're hoping he has a better season. But the interesting thing is Carroll's kind of our best player on offense here now. In real life, the best player is where is he on here? Ketel Marte. Um, obviously, he's a good player. I don't know where I'm going to be using him. Maybe second base. I don't want him to stay at center field. I think that's where Carroll will go. But Marte kind of plays all over, and his ratings aren't the best here. He had a 6.8 WAR, and he was um, finished third in MVP voting in the National League. So I don't think we're going to get that kind of production from him. But he's still a good player, and salary wise, he is making not that much money. So having a guy like Ketel Marte probably play second base, switch hitter, and be able to get me some, hopefully some decent play should be big. The biggest salaries we kind of have are these two starting pitchers that we signed, or that Arizona signed in the most recent off season. Well, I guess not most recent, but the one prior to the 2024 season. Signing Montgomery and Eduardo Rodriguez. Both of them failed in real life. They were really, if we look at it here, Jordan Montgomery. I mean, I don't have the screen up on the, but I'll just kind of say it. Jordan Montgomery, he had a 6.23 ERA in 21 starts, a minus 1.4 WAR on BREF. He was just kind of a failure. And I think I don't remember if it was the owner or something that said like that criticized their own signing of Montgomery or something like that. So he struggled, and Eduardo Rodriguez, he only started 10 games. He got hurt most of the season. 5 ERA, 0.2 WAR. So that's the interesting part because we're getting these guys. Look at Jordan Montgomery. These ratings, 66 overall. This guy's going to come in and hopefully be what they expected him to be. Obviously, OTP can have different ideas, but making just 25 million, which is a lot, but if he's playing to this overall level, then obviously he's worth it. And Eduardo Rodriguez has a long contract. This is one that I'm unsure about right now. He's currently hurt, so he'll be out the first 4 weeks of the season, ish, and then we'll probably rehab him for a little bit and then get him starting. So we'll see what he can do. Some other interesting names before we kind of start into it. Eugenio Suarez. He's the third baseman for the team. Again, I feel like Suarez's ratings are worse than. So I feel like the pitchers are a little bit bumped up, but some of our hitters are failing on the ratings a little bit. But it's hard to tell because Suarez, I don't think, had a great 2023. And we can look at that with the real life stats, right? Or are they not? Oh, I think that's only with the historical. But we can see it here. Yeah, 2.1 WAR with Seattle. I mean, Seattle's not a good hitting park or anything like that. So he didn't play great, but he wasn't terrible. But that's where his ratings are probably coming from. So Suarez was really good for the Diamondbacks last season. Hit 30 home runs, a 116 OPS plus. Really good. Then you have, at his price, we might look to trade him, but he's a good defender and everything, so I'm not sure 100% on Suarez. And then we have Christian Walker, who's the first baseman, Gold Glove first baseman. I mean, it's first base, so okay. But Gold Glove first baseman, hopefully he can sort of provide that value here as well. Very sort of can do everything well. And he showed that with a 2.6 WAR season from the first base side, 121 OPS plus, and that Gold Glove, 26 home runs in real life. Always been a solid player. I'm not sure if he's signed anywhere yet. In real life, he's okay. Yeah, he did sign with Houston. I must have missed that signing there. So Christian Walker is no longer a Diamondback. We'll see what we do here. I don't know how much he's going to want on an extension, but I think the plan would be to keep him, as opposed to letting him walk in free agency, depending on the price. He's 32 years old, so for a first baseman, we'll see. You have some other interesting pieces before we start. Zach Gallen obviously is our ace. Obviously, the big news of the offseason. The Diamondbacks in the real offseason, this current offseason in real baseball, is the Diamondbacks signing Corbin Burnes to be their ace. Zach Gallen at least came into the last season as their ace, and now, as long as he stays on the team, will be sort of that number two, where you kind of have that big Burnes, and then you have Gallen working as your two. So that's really should be advantageous and help them compete for a playoff spot. So you have Gallen in the rotation. Some interesting left field options with Gurriel Jr. Not the greatest profile. He's not a bad player. Sort of works with Peterson as a sort of left field DH type. Obviously, Peterson here is only going to play against righties. And he recently signed in the offseason too. Jock Peterson ended up going to the Texas Rangers to sort of fill that same sort of role over there with them. So on our team, he's got a team option for next season. We'll see at 14 million for a platoon guy. I'm not sure. We'll just kind of have to see where we're at. If we go down, there's not a lot of other ones here that we need to note. Except I feel like when you start new files, sometimes players are missing from the salary. Because I don't see Gabriel Moreno on there. So we'll need to make sure he's on the 40 man, which he is apparently. So he's going to be our catcher. One of the better contact hitting catchers in the league. 2.6 WAR in real life in 2024. Hit 266 with a 353 OBP, 105 OPS plus. So really solid player. Pretty excited to have him as a catcher. As you can see, high BABIP, high avoid K. Not a lot else. Decent defender. But he hits both sides fairly well. So he'll be the everyday catcher, and we'll have sort of few different options for a backup catcher here. I think Adrian Del Castillo. I think he's one of their. I think he played in the majors last season. Yeah, he did play 25 games with them. He's supposed to be one of their better young prospect sort of players. I don't see him factoring too much in because he can't really play defense here and his profile's not great, but we'll see what happens with him. I believe Barnhart was. So they did rotate a few catchers, backup catchers. Moreno played most of the games at 97. Herrera played 42. Barnhart 31. And Del Castillo 25. We have Hernandez here, who didn't play at all, from what I can see, for the Diamondbacks in 2024. So we have to decide whether we want to, use him or go with one of these other guys that are currently in AAA. And I don't love his profile, don't love his defense. I don't love Herrera's personality. Otherwise, I'd probably go with him. And Barnhart, I do like his defense. He's got a leadership quality. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to send Hernandez down, call Barnhart up to be our backup catcher. We're kind of just doing some roster things now. Perdomo is going to be our shortstop. He's listed as second base here. But Perdomo is going to be your shortstop, which will allow us to use Ketel Marte in more of a second base main role. We'll see where we play him overall, but the plan is to use him at second base mainly. He doesn't have great defense there. Left field would be his best spot, but where we're going to have Gurriel Jr. sort of playing there, that'll be sort of the thing. And then Corbin Carroll, while he's not the best, elite defender in center field, he does have decent range, error, and somewhat of an arm. So we're going to make him our center fielder. And then Jake McCarthy, as you can see down here, he's not a rookie or anything, so he's just kind of starting. Jake McCarthy was one of the better players for the Diamondbacks. Hit 285, 109 OPS plus in 142 games, 1.7 WAR. So they have Pavin Smith up. Pavin Smith played 60 games with the team. Garlic played no games with the team, if I'm saying that correctly. So just kind of also to keep a little bit of realism with the season, we're going to call it McCarthy. Be our sort of everyday, or at least versus right-handed right fielder. Can play all of those positions. So our outfield will kind of look like Gurriel Jr., Carroll, and McCarthy. And we'll go from there. I would like to get a guy who can hit lefties better. So we'll see. Barossa, we might end up calling up with his decent defense and everything. And then we take a look. So we got our catchers. Moreno's our main catcher with Barnhart backing up. Christian Walker, everyday first baseman. Marte will be our everyday second baseman. Suarez third. Perdomo at short. So we kind of have to decide a backup infield situation. We have Jace Peterson, who's sort of a utility guy. So we probably want to keep him. The other's Blaze Alexander, who's a solid player in his own right. Played 61 games with the team. Didn't do too great. 86 OPS plus in his 61 games with 0 WAR. I think the idea here is he's not fully developed yet. And he doesn't have any service time technically on this in this game yet. So we're going to send him down. And we're going to call up Kevin Newman, who did play with the team. Kevin Newman played 111 games with the team. 2.2 WAR. He's kind of just your kind of a slap hitter, really good defender. So he's going to be able to play a good second and short. He's got to learn second a little bit more. Doesn't strike out. Pretty much that's all he gives you. Former Pirate, I believe. I don't remember if he was a free agent or what, but yeah, so that's kind of our team. That's not going to be our offense here. We have 8 pitchers and 8 in the bullpen. With 13 pitchers and 13 hitters, and that's what we're going to start with. So we'll do the lineup here shortly, and then we can look at the pitching staff here. So we have Gallon Montgomery, sort of going to be the 1-2 for us here. Slade, I think Cecchoni, right? Is that how you pronounce it? Ciccone. Okay. Slade Ciccone. He did pitch for the Diamondbacks in real life. He had a 6.66 ERA. Funny enough, so he's there if we need him. I like his ability. And if he grows a little bit more, I mean, if he gets that 70 control, 55 home run against, the stuff is always going to be low. But I think he can sort of be a good 4-5 starter, probably 5. He's currently a borderline starter in this, so he's not ready to come up yet. So we just kind of have the guys that we have: Merrill Kelly, Bryce Jarvis, Brendan Fott. I didn't think it was Fott. Brandon Fott. He's a good player here as well. I believe he's our third. Not Merrill Kelly. They have listed. I'm going to put Fott as our third. Kelly 4. Jarvis 5. With the anticipation that Jarvis will probably be replaced by Eduardo Rodriguez when he comes back. We do want to make some bullpen changes here, just based on what we do have and who pitched for them. So Ryan Thompson was a guy that pitched for them. I don't know who we would replace him with, though. Another interesting guy that we do have is Ryan Nelson. Nelson was primarily a starter for the Diamondbacks in real life, but with being a borderline starter in the game, we're not going to be using him, but we will keep him in our bullpen. There's Frias, who's an interesting younger player. Didn't pitch much in real life with the Diamondbacks this season. Still growing a bit. So I think Frias, although he does have the stuff, he doesn't have any control. So I think I will call up Ryan Thompson, former Ray, to take that spot. And we'll do that later. Another guy that was interesting, who's, I mean, probably has the profile of what he really is in real life, but obviously, for anyone who knows Justin Martinez, he's pretty dominant reliever. 11.3 strikeout per nine guy. Does have some control issues, but only had 4.5 walks per nine. He's an interesting one here because he's not developed yet in this game. So what I'm going to do is I like to kind of disable the promotion and stuff. I'm going to move him to AAA, and we'll let him sort of grow, and then maybe if he grows a little bit, call him up earlier. And then I'm just gonna, what I kind of like to do is, if I do make some changes, just kind of redo the minor leagues. I don't do too much with it, but if we go to Reno now, Justin Martinez, he's currently in a setup role. I don't think I have the, I think I just have it set up to, yeah, so the minor leagues will be handling all that other stuff, so hopefully they handle that fine. Their closer in real life was Paul Sewell, who's currently on the injured list for 6 to 7 weeks. And their next guy in terms of save was Martinez and then Ginkel. So to open the season, Ginkel will be our closer. I like to kind of have the 8th plus or later on. That usually gets them in a fair amount to kind of try and close it out. The bullpen's not the strength of the team right now. Mantiply can be a middle reliever. We're just kind of probably just put a bunch of these guys in middle relief. Kyle Nelson is an interesting guy. He has a really good profile, but his stamina is pretty low. We're just kind of, what I kind of like to do in Perfect Team, we're going to make everyone middle relief, and then usually I found that the game does use your better relievers more, or at least that's the hope. Now, with this bullpen, it's not the best, so we can just wait until we get Sewell back, and then have Rodriguez move Jarvis to the bullpen, or even sent down. But we can maybe look for some pitching upgrades here as well. We have a decent farm system. Vukovic solid power guy, first base. We got Tommy Troy, who looks to be a really good player, capable of playing a lot of positions. He's similar to Ketel Marte. Um, not the greatest like defender anywhere, but he's able to play multiple spots and hit the ball pretty well. Um, Alec Thomas is a guy that could come up earlier for us. He didn't play a lot in real life for Arizona, and when he did, he was pretty terrible. So that should be interesting. See how he develops. He's not the greatest, but he's got some decent defense, play all three outfield spots, and he does have the ability to hit for a decent average and in the gap a little bit. We have Drew Jones, obviously Andrew Jones' son, number 65 prospect in the league. Going to be, hopefully, if he develops, I'm hoping he develops, the center fielder of the future. So in a couple years, hopefully Drew Jones comes in, work his way. I'm gonna kind of manage him as well. We'll keep him in Hillsboro in high A for now, and see what he can do. And hopefully, in about 2 to 3 seasons, if he develops, maybe even use some development lab on him as well. Get him up with a team, and then Corbin Carroll can probably move to left field to replace Gurriel, Peterson, Payne Smith, that sort of combo. So that's the hope there. We don't have a ton of pitching, if I remember. Caden Grice, not my favorite profile, but he does project to be a starter, so he could be a back of the rotation guy eventually. Trying to see if we have anyone else of note currently. So that's pretty much what we're looking at. I mean, it's not the strongest farm system in the league. I don't even know where it's ranked. Let's see. Top prospects? No. It would be. I'm trying to remember where the minor league system rankings. Yeah, that's it. So we're just 20th. We have Jordan Lawler, obviously, who's we talked about earlier. He's on the DL. And then Drew Jones and Tommy Troy. So we do have 3 top 100 prospects, but obviously we're. I feel like we have some good depth, but not a lot of difference makers, and we don't have like any pitchers coming up. So that will be a focus, kind of getting some pitching prospects because our rotation is pretty. I mean, it's not old. Gallen's got a lot of good years left. Montgomery's on a short deal. Rodriguez is older. He's at 30 and coming off injury. So we'll see. So if we go to the salaries, what we want to do kind of is look for if there's any sort of deal we can make. The first thing that I kind of look at is Merrill Kelly here. Merrill Kelly is a pretty good pitcher in real life. But he's not my favorite in this game. Doesn't have a lot of stand-up pitches, low stuff. And he's making $8 million with a $7 million option next year. So what I kind of want to do, as well we can, is just kind of shop him around and see if we can get a replacement. We have money, so if someone wants to just dump a salary, we could take something on, but obviously nothing great. We could get Chris Bryant and his huge contract. it wouldn't be the worst since Suarez isn't the greatest, and we can get off of him in a year, but don't really want that contract. If we retain some on Merrill Kelly, he's kind of the only guy I want to shop right now. If we retain 25%, there are more offers for some guys. One guy that stands out to me is Charlie Morton. I've always liked Charlie Morton. Got to see him pitch when I went to a Braves game a couple seasons ago. Obviously, he's a rental, 40 years old. But I think he does present an interesting option for an upgrade here. Like I said, we do have the money. We have 46 million available, and I don't plan on doing a ton with it. So that leads me to I think we're gonna make that deal. Is there something that we can find that's better? Potentially. But when Rodriguez comes back, then we're looking at a Charlie Morton as being a solid 3-4 guy in our rotation. And it's just sort of an interesting one. Now, what's interesting is they offered him, but I think they're not realizing that I was going to retain. And so we'll see how little we. So if we retain 5%, we can send Merrill Kelly over to them for Morton. Obviously, they're getting a younger pitcher, and trading away an expensive rental so they can save some money. I mean, they have a ton of cash available, but our money would drop by 12.4, so we'd be picking up $12 million in the deal. But we're gonna bring in Old Man Morton. I think it's a fair deal. I mean, Kelly's not the greatest, but he's decent. And Morton's old. He's old, he's fragile, and expensive. So I'm just kind of hoping that he, stays alive and everything. The Braves don't need him. They have Sale, Strider, Fried, Lopez. So I think this is a good deal for both sides. I'm hoping at least. So we're going to complete the trade, and that will be the first move of this sort of this franchise. Is we're going to bring in Charlie Morton, and he's going to be our new 3-starter with Fott going down to 4. So our rotation now looks like Gallen, Montgomery, Morton, Fott, and Jarvis. Feeling pretty good about that. Heading into the season. Don't love the bullpen still. Obviously, there's the free agent market and everything, but I don't think there's actually anyone that good or of note. I didn't even realize Derek Holland is still listed as a free agent here. Yeah, there's not really anything pitching wise that I'd be interested in. Brad Boxberger, I think former Ray, and I always thought he pitched for Arizona, but I know he was a former Ray. But yeah, nothing really there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take what we have. Obviously our money dropped, but we still got some fan interest, everything like that. We're going to advance this. We're going to save the file. Hopefully it goes. Surprisingly taking longer than I expected it to. And then we're going to advance to opening day. So that's sort of a longer intro that I sort of hoped for. But we'll get into it here now. And we'll watch the opening day game with Gallon on the mound. Our owner is hoping to reach the playoffs. We'll see there. Goals or reach the playoffs, fill the top 6 minor league system, and reach the World Series in the next 4 seasons. Lofty goals from my owner there. Top prospects list. A lot of the names that people would be used to, with Skeens being the #1 guy there. So we're on opening day. We're going to delete all our messages. And we got the Rockies to start on March 28th. So the trading block, Goldschmidt, we can bring him back to Arizona where he used to play. We have Christian Walker, so we don't need Goldschmidt. Kyle Finnegan of Washington. Potentially a decent bullpen piece if we can get him. But we're not going to worry about that right now. So we set up pitching, but we didn't set up our lineup. So what I'm going to do is just clear it. Moreno's going to be a sort of everyday catcher. Walker everyday first. Marte second. Suarez third. Perdomo short. Gurriel left. Carroll center. McCarthy right. Jock Peterson DH against the right-handed hitters. So Newman is going to take most of the stuff, second to third. First base, we're going to have Barnhart play first here. Peterson's going to play third left. And then Smith, well, I don't love him as a backup center fielder. We're going to have Smith sort of be center right and then DH. So in terms of our lineup here, Corbin Carroll's a guy I want leading off. And then we're going to set him to run. I want to see those steal numbers go up. So hopefully he can be a guy. I mean, he's got 90 speed and his stealing aggressive 70, stealing abilities 80, 75 base running on an 80 scale. Dude's going to be able to run. So Carroll's going to be our leadoff guy because he can get on base and he can run. We're going to have Marte second. I think we want to have Suarez third. Peterson 4. We'll go Walker 5. McCarthy 6. Gurriel, Moreno, and Perdomo. So I think I'm pretty happy about that. And then we might struggle this season against lefties. Like I said, I don't want Jock Peterson playing at all against lefties. But I don't really want Pavin Smith playing either, but he's a little bit better. So that's something we're going to need to probably address, is getting a right-handed outfielder. There's garlic. I don't think there's anything on the trade block. There's Robles, McCutcheon. McCutcheon I don't think can field anymore. I mean, he's got 50s. But do we really want to take him away from Pittsburgh? I mean, with this stuff, only $5 million contract. I mean, it might be kind of mean though. I mean, Robles, I like his stuff against lefties. He can learn the other outfield positions. But really, we need a DH and backup outfielder. I hate to do it, but he's a captain, so that'll help. He's great against left-handers. That'll help. He's sort of the opposite of Peterson, but probably even better against lefties, which you generally see less of. I don't like to do it, but it's the Pirates. Who cares about the Pirates, right? So we're going to try and trade for McCutcheon. What will get it done? A lot will get it done. Landon Sims is decent. I like Salfrank, but he's a reliever, so he's expendable. This guy, Emmanuel Rivera, I mean, he's kind of just blocked in AAA. He's not a bad player, so I wouldn't feel like I'm taking advantage of them. Yu Min Lin is a solid pitcher that I'm planning on keeping. Obviously, we're not going to trade you Drew Jones, Saccone. There is the Barossa guy, but I do like him. So I think sort of what kind of will be fair is a guy with a similar profile. I mean, he's a first and third baseman kind of guy versus an outfielder, but he's still, McCutcheon's more of a DH at this point. So I think that's fair. So we'll go Rivera, and we'll trade for Andrew McCutcheon to sort of fix that hole. And I apologize to Pavin Smith, but we're going to bounce him. And McCutcheon, now we're kind of missing our backup center fielder now. So that's an interesting one. Peterson's outfield range is 55 compared to 50, I believe, on McCutcheon. Yeah, 50. So what we're going to do is Peterson, he's not going to have to play there a lot, but McCutcheon will back up the corners and DH. So that should be fine. We don't need to change anything there, but now we have McCutcheon who can step up in DH, and Jock Peterson can sort of play a terrible center in right field, but I think that'll be good. So I hate to take McCutcheon from Pittsburgh. He's trying to retire there, but we're gonna give him a shot to try and make the playoffs as opposed to Pittsburgh. I'm gonna feel real bad if Pittsburgh just blows up. We're gonna keep Carroll. I mean, he's not as good as him lefties, but just his speed. But we're actually gonna go. Well, I feel like McCutcheon 4 is fine. Maybe we'll move him 5. So we'll have this lineup here. Yeah, McCarthy's not I feel like meh, 6 is probably too high for him. Moreno, yeah. So, or Perdomo even. Yeah, Perdomo's got I, which I like in the 6 spot. And it gives us 2 lefties in a row, which might hurt against a guy that's obviously Gurriel Jr. Yeah, Moreno's good, but we're just gonna break the lefties up a little bit here. I guess no, we can deal with that. Okay. Then the strategy, I do have like my own strategy, but I think what I'm gonna do is just use the sabermetric, just because. I think what is it? I like to use 96 and 81. Never use openers. No opener lineups. I don't think the AI is going to use them very much. Defensive substitutions, we don't. Well, no, I'm not really going to be using them, so I'm not even going to worry about it. Starting pitch counts. Every side fought is low. We can just set the pitch counts here. I'm gonna give Gallon 105 with his 65. We're gonna give Montgomery also 105. Morton's 60. We'll give him 100. Fought with his 45. We'll give him 90. And then Jarvis 95. So that should be fine. We have 8 relievers, so these lower pitch counts shouldn't hurt too much. And that should help manage these guys a little bit in their games. We'll take a look at sort of our base running guys. So we can just go to this and batting ratings. I want to see base running as well. And sure, stealing aggressiveness is fine. So McCarthy is another guy. That we want stealing a lot. And we're going to crank up the stealing and the base running on him. I feel like stealing is a good strategy these days. Marte is interesting. He's a decent stealer, but he doesn't take off much, so we'll move him up a bit because he's going to be able to steal, but he's not going to do it often. Base running, probably the same. And then I'm not even going to worry about these. McCutcheon is similar to Marte. Now, he's old, but we're going to let him run. And he can bunt really well. So we're going to crank bunt for hit. I think there's a way to take them off of all of them. There is somewhere. I don't remember where it was. I thought it was in here. There's a way to default the setting for taking to not let people pinch hit when they're tired, which I don't like to have exactly. I mean, we have a lot of guys that are decent base runners. So I'm just going to go adjust on the base running here because I think we have, what's the sabermetric? I guess the base running is kind of high already on the sabermetric. So we're not going to have them go more. So instead, we're going to take some of these guys who can't and adjust them even lower. I don't really need to do it for the pitchers, but he was there. Suarez. I mean, they're 40. It's not like they're bad, but all right. I'm happy with that. I think we'll just save again, just in case it crashes. So I think we're set up pretty well. I think we might struggle against lefties, but adding McCutcheon should help a lot. I think the backups are getting good enough time. I don't think we'll run into too many issues. I just need to hope some of these guys progress, and we'll be watching these. We'll be watching the injured list as we have guys like Eduardo, Sewell on the main roster, and then Lawler, probably the main guy we want to look for coming back in the minors. Obviously, we gotta wait 2 months for him, which I mean close enough for Sewell, but hopefully no setbacks and they can kind of get back. And then honestly, Lawler, if he can progress a little bit, he'll probably be our starting shortstop next season, or second baseman. I think Perdomo is good enough on defense. I want someone better, but Perdomo will do for now. And then Marte, we can move him around more. Probably to left field. I believe Gurriel Jr. I think he's on a longer deal, but he might have an opt out. Yeah, he's an opt out after next season, so he'll still be on the roster. But he can sort of probably take McCutcheon's place as DH versus lefties. Pretty much the same role that McCutcheon will fill this season. And then we can move Marte to left field. And then bring up Lawler to kind of play second base probably. So that's the plan. But we'll start here. Let's get to our game. Hopefully there's no like freak accidents or anything like that. Ryan Barucki would be a guy like lefty. We'll keep it as is for now. Quintana though, no, he's not. He doesn't look great, but he's 57 overall, borderline starter. I don't know why. I mean, I know the overalls don't matter, but I would expect him to look better. Okay, we'll save since we got here. I just Simeon PBE. For anyone who knows PBE, you save a lot because the file might crash and then you lose everything, and that's not good. So we're playing the Rockies. We get a home game. We're just gonna play this one out. Defense strategy I like to have on the computer AI, just because, and hopefully it uses my settings. play-by-play speed. We're gonna just go very fast. I don't know how loud this is gonna be on a stream, so we're just gonna turn. We're not gonna have a home run horn because that might be kind of loud, but play-by-play speed, very fast. Where's the other one? We're not gonna use the warm-up rule. 3D animation speed, we're gonna go very fast as well. So hopefully not to take too long. And I don't think we're gonna change anything else. We do have the advantage over Colorado, which I would hope. So we'll jump into the first game of the season. First game of the new franchise mode. So I'm excited about this. And we'll get it started here. So we have Zach Gallen on the mound. And an error by Suarez to start. So that's great. Doyle is on first. I don't know if he's going to take off. I assume he might. There's an out there. And there's a big hit over the left fielder's head. And with Doyle running, they do hold him up. Not a great start here for Gallen, though. Full count. That's a grounder to second baseman. Marte throws it first, but the Rockies do score first. 4-pitch walk to Jake Cave. 4-pitch walk to Tovar. Brings up Ryan McMahon, who will fly out. So the Rockies take the lead here, but we'll see what this offense can do. I'm excited about this offense. Carroll will lead it off. Marte will ground out. Suarez, who had the error that cost us, will fly out. Now, I wasn't speaking well of Suarez and his ratings in this game, and he might be on the chopping block. He doesn't have a long contract here, and that's a bomb. Sam Hilliard. Well, they've already reached their second time through in the lineup, so Gallen's got to hopefully just calm down here. He gets a strikeout of Chris Bryant and a pop-up of Jones, who had the big double. So it's 3-0 Rockies after 1.5. Jock Peterson will fly out. Ryan Feltner on the mound for the Rockies. Not the greatest of pitchers. Oh, he'll get that one through. I was not thinking that was getting through, but Walker gets on with the first hit of the season. First hit of this franchise mode goes to Christian Walker. Jake McCarthy will step up, and he will single over the second baseman. Gurriel Jr. will step up, and he will single as well. So we have the bases loaded for Gabriel Moreno, and he will line out to short with Perdomo, the 9-hitter, coming up. And Perdomo will line it hard to short. They knock it down, but we do score the run. Brings up Corbin Carroll now. Full count. Draws the bases loaded walk. So Diamondbacks still in business here. Marte, another full count, but this one will be a ground out. So we score 2, and after 2, it's 3-2 in favor of the Colorado Rockies. Let the Diamondbacks get a couple back. We'll see if Gallen can, well, as I say that, was it Elias Montero gets a single up the middle. And a hit pitch, Jake Cave. Tovar trying to bunt, fails though, and then he will ground out into a double play, so bunt, probably a good idea for him, but now it's 2 outs. McMahon steps up, he will hit it hard, dies out there in right field. Gallen gets into trouble but works his way out of it. Suarez steps up, he'll draw a walk. Peterson will ground into a double play. Not great. Christian Walker now steps up, and he will strike out looking. So after 3, it's still 3-2. We'll see if Gallen can kind of have a cleaner inning here. That's a good start. Hilliard, who hit the big home run earlier, will hit another deep fly ball, but this one's caught. Doyle, though, will single with 2 outs, so Gallen still not able to have a clean inning here. Chris Bryant now will line a double, run-scoring double. Runner scores all the way from first. Well, our ace is kind of getting hit. There's another double down the line by Jones this time. That should score another run, 5-2. Montero will step up. And that might be it for Gallen. He's just not having a good game. McCarthy, though, will line one over the third baseman. That will be a double for him. Gurriel Jr. steps up, and that will fall in for a single, and it gets past the left fielder. So that'll be an error on Jake Cave, and that will allow McCarthy to score from second. Moreno now will line one up the middle, and that will score McCarthy from second base, or Gurriel from second base. Perdomo will ground out, but gets the runner over to third. So the tying run now on third base with the top lineup and Corbin Carroll up. And that will be the RBI single. So we're tied. And they will make a change, bring in Austin Gomber. So Kettle Marte now step up, and that one is deep off the top of the wall. Marte is running. He's still running. He's going for 3. That'll be a triple. Run scoring triple as Carroll crosses the plate. Forgot Carroll was on base. We would have had him steal probably, but didn't need to. And now we have Suarez against the lefty, but he will strike out. And now with Peterson up, we will see a pinch hit situation here. And that will be it for Peterson, and we will see the debut, the Arizona debut of Andrew McCutchen facing Austin Gomber with a man on third. And Kutch will hit one deep, but it dies. Oh, I was hoping. Gallen is sort of getting tired here, and he's just not had a good game. If we let him go one more inning, he could be in position for a win. But this is their third time through, right? Yeah, this is their third time through. He's already not having a good game, so it's just going to be it for him. They have a lefty, righty, lefty coming up. So we're going to go with a lefty of our own. And we're going to bring in Kyle Nelson. So Nelson will come in to face Jake Cave, and Jake Cave will say, screw your lefty, and get a double there. So not great. Now we have Tovar, the righty. Tovar, though, will ground out, but the runner moves out of third. McMahon will strike out. A huge strikeout from Nelson there. Bringing up Elias Diaz. And now Nelson has faced 3 guys. We have a righty up, but we have a lefty next. So we could bring in a guy to make the last out, and then bring in a lefty. What we're gonna do, we're gonna keep Nelson in there, and hopefully he gets Diaz. This might be not be the best, but Suarez, he gets the ground out. Suarez goes over first, and the decision didn't haunt me. So Nelson now becomes the pitcher of record for the Diamondbacks. If we can hold on to win, obviously. McCarthy gets on. Diaz has a good arm. But we're going to try. We're going to take a pitch. Oh. We're going to take a pitch. And now we're going to steal second base. And safe. McCarthy's in with a stolen base on a ball there. So we have a runner in scoring position now. Gurriel will ground out to third. The runner will move over on the third baseman having to come in. And Moreno comes in facing a lefty, which should be his preferred pitchers to face, but he will ground out. We head to the next inning here. They have a pinch hitter, and so they bring in a righty. So we, having faced those already, are going to bring in our next Nelson. We bring in Ryan Nelson now, and he will face Rogers in the top of the order. So Rogers will ground out third. Doyle will step up. Doyle will ground out to the pitcher. And facing Chris Bryant now, he'll get Bryant to fly out to left field. So Ryan Nelson does his job in the bullpen there too. Gomber's still in. He's been pretty solid for them. But there's a big gap shot by our 9 hitter in the double for Perdomo. So I don't think we have Perdomo set to steal, do we? I mean, we're not going to steal third base here, but I'm just looking at his ratings and thinking about that. Carroll will strike out, unfortunately, though. Marte now steps up, but Marte will line one deep, and that's another off-the-wall shot for Marte. That's his second of the game that he's hit just off the top of the wall. That will be an insurance run there. So big hit from Marte, who's now 2 for 4 in the game. Suarez now will step up, and that one is deep, but just in front of the warning track. And McCutcheon still gets to face a left-hander and will draw a walk, which makes sense. It's his best rating there. So this is going to be interesting here. We have 2 outs. We do have a man in scoring position, but we have some pretty good base stealers. Diaz has a solid arm, but we're going to try a double steal. Didn't work, but it's a ball. That's fine. We're going to try it again. And they're off running, and boom, they both steal. McCutcheon is in, gets his first steal of the Diamondback, and now we have 2 men in scoring position. Christian Walker up, facing the new pitcher, Jake Bird. A 3-1 count. Now we have bases loaded. Jake McCarthy is 2 for 2 in the game. 1-2 count will strike out swinging. Missed opportunity there for the Diamondbacks. But we'll head to the next inning where we have an interesting decision on our hands here. With lefty, righty, lefty. But do we want to bring in a lefty to face Jones to have the lefty have to face Montero? And I think Jones is going to be a little bit more dangerous than Montero. So we are going to bring in Joe Mantiply from the bullpen. So we're going to make the switch. He's got to face 3 guys. First one being Nolan Jones. And he will hit him. So that's not good. He will walk Montero. Also not good. Face Jake Cave. We'll get a weak fly ball onto center field. So he does his job there. Now he's got Tovar and McMahon. And I'm going to keep Mantiply going here. And the decision works. He gets Tovar to ground out into a double play. So luckily the bullpen decisions have been solid so far and not blown up in my face. And now he can go one more batter next inning. That's a shot into the gap from Gabriel Moreno. And that'll be a double. Jake Bird still on the mound. Perdomo, who had a double last time, will line out to right field, bringing up the fifth time in the order? Fourth time? Corbin Carroll will step up. And that will be a ground out to the pitcher. So we have a lefty. Mantiply will stay in for this batter. And we'll have someone warming up. You know, we would have had someone warming up if we kept that on, but I don't really feel like it. We don't have a ton of good options, but we're going to go... What inning is it? The top of the 8th. So we're going to bring in... We don't really have a setup guy, but Miguel Castro is kind of going to be that guy right now for us. So he'll face Diaz, Bouchard in the top of the order. And that will be... I feel like our relievers just keep giving up leadoff stuff. It comes back. And Miguel Castro gets the next guy. And then Doyle comes in. That will be a single for Doyle. Now we have to face Chris Bryant. And we strike out Bryant. Huge, huge, huge right there. We'll head to the bottom of the 8th, trying to add some insurance runs. Marte will ground out. Suarez will ground out. And McCutcheon now, unfortunately, having to face a right-hander. We're going to bring in Jace Peterson. So McCutcheon's day is done. Hoping Peterson has a 60-eye, so hopefully we can get something started, but it looks like it's going to be a strikeout. Okay, so we go to our closer for now, Kevin Ginkel. Obviously, Paul Sewell is hurt, and so we don't have our main closer in here. Justin Martinez is not as good as in the game as he is in real life. He still has some developing to do. So it's up to Ginkel, who was third in real life with saves on the Diamondbacks. And Nolan Jones will hit a home run to lead off this inning. Luckily, we had an insurance run. So we'll face Montero now and strike him out. Face Jake Cave, a left-hander, so that's dangerous. Cave will line one down the line, or ground one down the line, past the first baseman. That'll be a double. The old man, Charlie Blackmon, now steps up. We got a lot of lefties. We can bring in a lefty if we want to, which might be an interesting option here. We have Tommy Henry as our last lefty. He's not great. And if we bring him in, he's got to face... You know, we have our closer. We got to trust him. And, well, it sets up the double play at least. McMahon now steps up, and he will strike out McMahon. Brings up Elias Diaz, 2 on. Tying run is on second base. He'll pitch Diaz on the first pitch. Diaz will line one up the middle. And that will tie the game. So Ginkel in his first appearance will blow it. And, you know, against righties, he's pretty dominant. And unfortunately, Diaz, who's not a great hitter, just made his play pay. I'm gonna trust Ginkle to hopefully get us out of this thing. And he does. So that one's a tough one, but we have a chance to walk it off now. Victor Vodnik comes in for the Rockies. 98 to 100 velo. Gonna be tough to hit anything off of him. Walker steps up though and will get a single. Good start there. McCarthy now steps up and he will get a single. So with 2 men on, no outs. This is an interesting one here. We could try and double steal, but I think that might be too risky at this point. But let's see. We have Newman on the bench who has a 55 sacrifice bunt, or Tucker Barnhart who has a 65 sacrifice bunt. I don't love bunting, but Gurriel Jr. is not as good against righties. And we could set up Marino and Perdomo with a chance to walk it off. So we're going to try a pinch hit bunt. Tucker Barnhart will step in. We're going to try and bunt these guys over. And it froze. Well, that's great. So that's fun. I'm gonna try and figure this out. But of course, this would happen. Bunting breaks the game, I guess. I don't want to just give up on this and like close it out. Let me lose this whole game. And this is an exciting game. Unfortunately, we probably have to end this stream on a cliffhanger. I'm gonna raid over to Franchise Time Machine. And we'll see what happens in this game. But I plan to do Perfect Team, but the introduction to this sort of took a little extra time. But obviously we're not even a game in this time. Good thing we saved, so we don't have to reset stuff. But unfortunately, I don't think this is going to go. We're now at a black screen. Unfortunately, it looks like that was a unfortunate ending to what was a very good game. Well, OTP, I don't know why you gotta do this to me. Alright, well, I think there's 2 viewers in here, or 1. I'm not 100% sure. But to anyone who has watched this, thanks for watching, and we'll do this again more, hopefully with less crashing in the future. Yeah, unfortunate. So I'm going to raid over to Franchise Time Machine. And if you are here, enjoy that. He always has some good fun streams here. So we're gonna, let's see if I know even how to raid. Oh, start raid. Alright, thanks all. I'm gonna try and figure out OTP and see what happens. But so far, not looking good. Thanks for watching.
Shane Bivens, no question. Okay, Shane Bivens it is. Get done picking the team, I might try restarting my computer real quick. Okay, yeah, no problem. Well, I'm also going to do a 3-minute ad roll. People are finishing up their forms, so. My computer real quick. Okay.